The stars above Haven Station glowed quietly. It was a place built for peace floating between the Earth colonies and the Turok Empire. After years of war, both sides were tired. Leaders from Earth and the Turok finally agreed to sit down and talk. No weapons, no soldiers, only diplomats and hopes. Inside the station's main dome, flags from both sides waved gently in the air system. Bright lights and calm music filled the halls. For once, there was no fear. People smiled, shook hands, and shared drinks. It looked like peace was truly possible. Humans brought civilians to the station as a show of trust. Families walked the halls, including children. One of them was a small boy named Milo. He was only 6 years old, with wide eyes and messy hair. His parents were diplomats, and he loved exploring the strange metal halls of Haven. The Turok, tall reptilian beings, with cold eyes and strong armor, watched from a distance. They weren't used to children. In their culture, children were hidden until they were strong. Seeing human kids playing openly made many of them uncomfortable. Still, they followed orders: no aggression, no conflict. Milo loved to wander. He would sneak out of his parents' room, laughing as he ran down the silver hallways. He wasn't afraid. To him, it was all an adventure, a game. On the 5th day of peace talks, Milo woke early. His parents were still asleep. Quietly, he slipped out again. This time, he took a new Path 1 that led toward the Turok Embassy section. Signs clearly said, "Authorized personnel only," but Milo couldn't read alien writing. He kept walking, humming softly and touching the glowing walls. 2 Turok guards stood near a sealed door. They were big, almost 3 meters tall, with sharp claws and narrow eyes. When they saw the small human walking toward them, they growled in confusion. "What is this creature doing here?" One hissed in their language. "I don't know, but it's not supposed to be here," the other replied. Milo stopped in front of them, smiling. He waved his hand. "Hi, I'm Milo. Do you have any snacks?" The guards didn't respond. They weren't trained for this. To them, this was a serious breach. An enemy child in their territory? It looked like a trap. Panic grew. "Go back," one said in broken English. But Milo didn't understand. "Can I see what's behind the door?" He stepped forward. The guard raised a claw. What happened next was unclear. Cameras nearby glitched. There was a short scream. Then silence. Minutes passed. A cleaning drone found a small shoe near the wall. But no Milo. Back in the human quarters. Milo's parents woke up and noticed he was gone. At first, they thought he was playing again. But after an hour of searching and calling his name, fear set in. They alerted Security. Commander Reed, a former battlefield leader, now assigned to peacekeeping, took charge. Calm but alert, he began, checking the station's records. Every hallway, every camera feed, every door log. He saw Milo walking down the hall. He saw the signs. He saw the guards. And then nothing. The footage ended in static. The child never walked back. Reed narrowed his eyes. "Where is he?" He sent a message to the Turok Embassy. "The child entered your sector. Return him immediately." The Turok replied coldly, "We have no knowledge of this child. He never crossed our line." Reed clenched his jaw. "We both know that's a lie." Inside the human diplomatic chamber, Milo's mother collapsed in tears. Her sobs echoed through the quiet room. News spread fast. A child was missing. Last seen near Turok territory. The aliens denied everything. Some humans wanted to believe it was a mistake. Others whispered the unthinkable, that the Turok had killed the boy. Earth's High Command held an emergency session. "We came for peace," one ambassador said. "But if they harmed a child, there will be no forgiveness." Outside, the stars over Haven Station kept glowing inside. The truce began to crack. The final words of the part echoed in Commander Reed's voice. If they touch that boy, then no place in this galaxy will be safe from what's coming. The station was quiet, but it wasn't peaceful anymore. Everyone could feel the change. Whispers filled the air like smoke words. No. One wanted to say out loud, Milo was still missing. It had been 10 hours. Commander Reed stood alone in the observation deck, staring out at the black sea of stars. His jaw was tight, his arms crossed. He had led troops in 3 major wars. He had seen cities fall and armies burn. But something about this one missing child made his blood run cold. Behind him, a young officer approached quietly. Sir? No new updates. Turok security still denies any contact. No body, no witness, just silence. Reed nodded slowly. They're hiding something. Down below, Milo's parents sat in a small room, surrounded by guards. His mother hadn't spoken since she collapsed. His father just kept saying the boy's name over and over, like it was a prayer. Other humans on the station were growing angry. Civilians demanded answers. Soldiers stood tense in the halls, watching the Turok as if they were enemies again. And the Turok? They acted cold, too calm. Their diplomats kept repeating the same line. There is no evidence of your child in our zone. But it was strange. They'd stopped attending the peace talks. They moved in groups now, eyes watching everyone, guards standing closer to their doors. Something wasn't right. Reed called an emergency meeting. Human officers, diplomats, and station crew all gathered. He played the last footage of Milo frame by frame. This is the boy, Reed said, voice sharp. He walked down corridor 7A at 6:14. He was seen near the Turok checkpoint. Then nothing. The cameras glitched. He didn't come back. A diplomat raised a hand. Could it be an accident? Could the Turok be telling the truth? Reed didn't answer right away. He zoomed in on a blurry shot. It showed the outline of the Turok guards and the small figure of Milo standing in front of them. I've seen those faces in war. That's not confusion. That's fear. There was silence. Start searching, he ordered. I want every hallway swept, every maintenance tunnel, every vent. If they moved him, they made a mistake. We'll find it. At the same time, across the station, a quiet figure watched from the shadows. Saren, a Turok technician, had been in the control room. That morning, he had seen the camera feed before it was deleted. He had seen the guard strike the child. He had heard the scream, but he was afraid. Speaking the truth could mean death for him and his family. Still, something in him twisted when he saw that human mother crying on the station screens. Late that night, Saren opened a secure, hidden channel. To any human command, this is urgent. The child, the guards. I know the truth. Before he could send it, the door to his room opened. A Turok commander stood there. Saren's message was never delivered. Back on the human side, something else was found. One of the cleaning drones had recorded its path. Most files were routine. But one clip almost overlooked showed something strange. A small red shoe, caught near the corner of the Turok gate. It matched what Milo wore. Commander Reed watched the clip 10 times. His face didn't change, but his voice became ice. Wake up, Earth Command. Send it now. A communication beam shot across the stars toward Earth's military core. Inside the control room, the screen lit up with a red seal. Class 4 child. In danger. Evidence. Physical status. Escalate immediately. Next morning, a message arrived on Haven Station. Earth wasn't sending a message of peace anymore. They were sending a ship. Not just any ship. The Iron. Veil, one of Earth's most powerful military vessels, was now on its way. The Turok received the news first. Their embassy went silent. Some began destroying data. Some fled back to their rooms. One shuttle even tried to leave the station, but was blocked. Reed looked out the window as the stars shimmered. He said just one sentence. They hoped for peace. They had a chance. But they chose silence. Commander Reed stood in Haven Station's data vault, staring at blinking consoles. The room smelled like old wires and cold metal. Beside him, a quiet technician tapped nervously at the screen. Most of the camera feeds in that sector were corrupted, sir, she said. But I think someone tried to cover their tracks. Sloppy work. Reed nodded. Recover what you can. Every second matters. Outside the vault, things were changing fast. The Iron Veil, Earth's warship, had entered orbit. Its dark, silent shape loomed above the station like a watchful predator. It didn't send messages. It didn't blink. It just waited. The message was clear. Earth had arrived. And Earth was angry. Inside the Turok section, panic was growing. Turok officers whispered behind closed doors. Some demanded to flee. Others begged their leaders to confess. But the top brass refused. We are warriors, one general hissed. We do not kneel to humans over a missing child. But not all Turok agreed. One, a junior technician named Viren, had seen the truth. He hadn't spoken yet, but he couldn't sleep. He remembered the blood, the guard's angry shout, the child's small body. He knew what they had done. And deep inside, something broke. Back in the human command room, the technician gasped. Sir, I found something. She tapped the console quickly and played a half-recovered video. The screen flickered. Lines danced across the feed. Then it stabilized just long enough to show Milo, standing in front of the two Turok guards. One guard raised his hand. Then dash static. Reed clenched his fists. That's enough. That's proof. He uploaded the video directly to Earth High. Command. Within minutes, a live update flashed across the human net. Human child confirmed harmed near Turok sector. Visual contact with hostile guards. Status, high alert. The mood shifted everywhere. Turok ambassadors went silent. Human civilians aboard Haven were ordered to withdraw. And then, something unexpected happened. An anonymous message reached the human command room. It came from inside the Turok zone. It was only 3 words. Fuel Chamber 7. Commander Reed raised an eyebrow. Where is that? Old maintenance section, his officer replied. Unmonitored. Sealed off years ago. He called a search team. 10 armed Marines in black armor moved in silence. They marched through the long halls and sealed doors. Finally, they reached it. Fuel Chamber 7. It was cold, dusty, dark. And inside was something small. Hidden behind metal crates, a piece of fabric. Red, a child's shirt, blood on the edge. One Marine picked it up, hands shaking. He pressed his comms unit. We found it, sir. It's the boys. Commander Reed stood over the shirt in the med bay. He didn't speak for a long time. Finally, he said, we give them one chance. 1. If they don't return the body and the names of those responsible, we end it. The message went out across the station. Turok Command, you have 24 hours. Return the body. Return the names, or Earth will respond. But no reply came. Meanwhile, inside the Turok High Chamber, chaos had begun. Viren, the technician who knew the truth, stood in front of his leaders trembling. You killed a child, he said. Do you know what that means? You touched a human. Child, their kind doesn't forget. They don't forgive. You think you understand them? You don't. The council leader growled. They are weak. They always talk before they strike. Viren shook his head. And why is their warship already here? Why haven't they fired yet? Silence fell. "They're giving us time," Viren whispered. "Not because they're afraid. Because they still hope we'll do the right thing." The council didn't move Dot, so Viren left Dot, and the timer continued. To count down Dot inside the Earthship Iron Veil, a captain sat in a dark command chair, eyes watching the station from above. A voice from Earth Command buzzed in his ear. "If they don't reply in 12 hours, prepare to unleash Judgment Protocol." He replied with 2 words. "Understood, sir." The final scene fades on Commander Reed holding the bloodied shirt. His voice is cold, quiet. They tried to bury the truth, but now they'll drown in it. Asterisk, the countdown had begun. Inside Haven Station's control tower, Commander Reed stood over a glowing console, staring at the blinking red timer. 12 hours left. 12 hours before Earth's fleet was cleared to strike. He had hoped it wouldn't come to this, but hope was running out. Beside him, the station's senior officer leaned in. "Sir, civilians have been evacuated. All non-military humans are off the station." "Orders?" Reed didn't look up. "Seal our section. Full lockdown. No one leaves, no one enters. Unless they come with the boy." Up in orbit, the Iron Veil hovered like a shadow across the stars. Its hull was jet black, shaped like a blade, silent but deadly. From a distance, it looked calm, but inside, the warship was alive, soldiers trained, cannons charged. Strike drones waited in launch tubes, humming low. Captain Hall, commander of the Iron Veil, stood before the main window. "Begin final targeting," he ordered. "Only military zones. Civilian life must be spared. But if they have guns, take them out." The room echoed with the calm voice of Earth's justice. This wasn't revenge, this was accountability. On the Turok side, things were falling apart. Some officers packed bags. Others sent secret messages to distant colonies, asking for escape. But the High Council still refused to speak. They had received Earth's warning, and they had ignored it. Viren, the technician who once tried to speak, now moved in secret. He watched as documents were burned. Data was deleted. Anything connecting them to the child was being erased, but it was too late. The humans already knew. Back at the recovery site, Earth Marines found more signs. Beneath the floor of Fuel Chamber 7, hidden under a panel, was a small tag. Milo's name written in faded marker. His toy was found nearby, a tiny plastic starfighter, one wing broken. Blood on the edge. It wasn't just evidence now. It was a message. They had hidden the body, but they had not buried the consequences. Commander Reed stood in the press room. The image of Milo's shirt, the toy, and the security footage played behind him. He faced the galactic news reporters with steady eyes. "To the galaxy watching, we came for peace. We brought families. We trusted them." He paused, jaw tightening. "A child is dead. A child who came in innocence, who laughed and smiled on this very station." Reed leaned forward. "They didn't just break trust. They broke something sacred." He stepped back, and the screen flashed red. 24-hour ultimatum issued. Earth will strike. The Turok response came at last. But it wasn't a message of peace. It was silence. They shut their embassy doors. Their guards vanished from halls. Their communication lines went dark. Earth took it as an answer. That night, the stars above Haven Station shimmered unnaturally. Turok sensors caught the shift first gravity pulses, heat spikes, energy flows. From behind the moon, 6 more ships arrived, silent, sharp, deadly. They were Earth's backup. The Vindicator-class fleet. And they weren't here to talk. Reed watched them appear, one by one. His voice was steady, but every officer nearby felt the weight of it. Now they will see what happens when peace is offered and a child is taken instead. Elsewhere, a single message was broadcast from the Iron Veil across the stars. To every species listening, we asked for peace. We offered it with open hands. One child was harmed. One truth was buried. Now Earth responds not with words, but with fire. On the bridge of the Iron Veil, Captain Halley opened a sealed file labeled Judgment Protocol. His eyes scanned. He nodded once, then said the words the galaxy had feared for decades. Prepare the strike. First wave targets confirmed. And across the black sea of stars, 1,000 human warships turn toward the TUROK dot as the part ends. The final image is a close-up of Milo's toy starfighter placed on Commander Reed's desk. It sits beside a photograph of the boy, smiling. There. Camera zooms out slowly as alarms begin to sound. Earth is done waiting. Asterisk. The stars over Haven Station were still just for a moment. Too still. Then the darkness shifted. Human warships, black and silent, began to move. First came the Iron Veil, cutting through space like a blade. Then came the Vindicator fleet, there. Hulls humming with power. Hundreds of ships aligned across the sky like a wall of justice and vengeance. Inside the Turok embassy, alarms blared. One guard yelled, "What are they doing?" Another watched the screen, voice trembling. They're not talking anymore. Commander Reed stood in Haven Station's central command, hands behind his back. His eyes didn't blink as the countdown hit 0. Status? He asked an officer. Replied, targets locked, weapons hot. They're waiting on your order. Reed didn't raise his voice. Begin. Above the station, Earth's fleet lit up. The first strike came without warning. Blue beams of energy pierced through space, slicing into Turok military ships docked near their zone. Defense turrets exploded. Hangar bays were turned to flame. Everything that could shoot back was targeted first and destroyed. On the Turok homeworld, far away, their capital screamed in panic as emergency signals reached them. Earth has begun the assault. We are under fire. We are not prepared. But it was already too late. Inside Haven Station, Turok diplomats ran for safety. But the doors were sealed. Human soldiers blocked every exit. Commander Reed appeared on their screen. His message was short. No one leaves until the child is returned. Or until your empire no longer exists. Meanwhile, the Iron Veil launched its drones. Fast, silent, unstoppable. They moved through corridors, bypassing locked doors, scanning heat signatures. They weren't there to kill everyone. They were searching for the truth. For the child. Inside Fuel Chamber 7, hidden behind a lower wall, the Marines found a small sealed unit. It looked like an old storage pod, rusted, forgotten. Inside it was Milo's body, wrapped in a thermal cloth, placed there. Like garbage. One Marine fell to his knees, shaking. Another pressed his gums. Sir? We found him. Confirmed. The station went quiet. No one spoke. Commander Reed walked to the chamber himself. He stared at the small body, then knelt down and gently picked up the broken toy starfighter next to it. I told them, he whispered. They touched the wrong child. He turned toward the medics. Take him home, gently. He'll be remembered. But the war wasn't over. Not yet. Now that Earth had the truth, they wanted names. The killers. The liars. The ones who covered it up. When the Turok refused again, Earth escalated. Above the Turok border colonies, Earth's orbital weapons activated. Massive rods of tungsten were dropped from space. No explosions, just pure impact force. Cities trembled. Military bunkers collapsed. Power grids vanished. And yet not a single civilian was targeted. Earth's message was clear. This is not war. This is judgment. The galaxy watched in shock. News channels replayed the footage. A child's body. A grieving mother. A fleet lighting the sky on fire in silence. Many alien species who once feared. Earth now understood their deepest truth. Earth had rules. But when those rules were broken, especially with a child Mercy died, some Turok officers tried to surrender. Others begged for peace, but it was no longer up to them. Because now, the galaxy had taken a side. Dozens of neutral species sent support messages to Earth. One simple sentence echoed across systems. We would have done the same if it were our child. In the last scene of this part, Milo's body is placed aboard a peaceful civilian ship heading back to Earth. Soldiers stand in salute. No music, no words, just silence. Commander Reed watches the ship leave from the observation deck. Then, turning toward the Turok Council room, he speaks. We warned them. We begged them. They touched one of ours. Now, we decide what's left of theirs. Asterisk, the flames had faded, but the fire inside Earth's fleet still burned. Across the galaxy, the truth could no longer be hidden. News broadcasts echoed from one system to another, all showing the same images. The blood-stained cloth, the sealed fuel chamber, the innocent child's broken toy, and beside it all the silent fury of Earth's warships in the sky. Galactic leaders watched in disbelief. Peace had been possible until a child was killed and buried like waste, and the ones who did it. Lead. Inside Haven Station's chamber, the last remaining Turok Council members stood surrounded by Earth's Marines. Their faces showed fear, but not regret. Commander Reed entered slowly, holding a datapad. Without a word, he placed it on the table and played the recovered footage. The room went still. The video showed it all, now fully restored. Milo approaching, confused but smiling. The guards, panicking. One shoved him. He fell. His head struck the edge of a wall. The scream. Then nothing. A cold silence followed. The screen faded black. Reed's voice cut through the air like a blade. He didn't die in a war. He didn't carry a weapon. He was a child. You didn't protect him. You hid his body like garbage and lied to the galaxy. A Turok elder spoke at last, voice trembling. We panicked. We didn't mean. Reed interrupted, stepping closer. You didn't mean to get caught. He turned to the Marine next to him. Transmit this footage to the galaxy. Every channel, every race. Let them see what peace looks like to the Turok. And the galaxy did see. Billions watched in shock. In marketplaces, ships, schools, temples. Everywhere. Parents pulled their children close. Soldiers stood in silence. Even hardened generals from other species shed quiet tears. And slowly the galaxy began to turn. Not away from Earth, but toward it. Dozens of species once neutral sent messages to Earth. We support your actions. We recognize your justice. We mourn the child as one of our own. Some even sent ships not to fight, but to stand beside Earth's fleet. For the first time in centuries, the stars united not under a flag, but under grief and fury. Back on Earth, a memorial was built within days. A garden on the moon. At the center stood a small statue. A boy holding a toy starfighter, smiling at the sky. Milo's name was carved into crystal beneath it. Crowds gathered to light candles. People who had never met him wept as if he were their own. Across colonies, even alien families placed offerings at local shrines. The message was clear. You touched one child, but woke the heart of an entire galaxy. But not everyone mourned. Some Turok colonies still resisted, still claimed Earth was too emotional, too powerful, too dangerous. Commander Reed had an answer for that too. He stood before the Council of Species and said, You fear us? Good, you should. But remember, we asked for peace. We begged for it. We brought our children to your station to prove our trust. One of them never came back, and now we are done begging. Earth didn't destroy the Turok Empire. They didn't need to. The galaxy had already done it for them. Trade collapsed. Alliances crumbled. Tur. OK embassies were closed, ignored, or attacked by angry mobs of mixed species. Their empire fell not with bombs, but with truth. The truth of a boy who smiled and never returned home. In the final moments of this part, Commander Reed sits alone in a dark room, watching the stars. He holds the toy starfighter, still scratched, still broken. He places it on the table and speaks softly. He didn't live long, but his silence spoke louder than all our words. The stars were quiet again. The fire had passed, but peace didn't return the same way. It had come. Earth had not destroyed the Turok. It hadn't turned their planets to ash or wiped out their species. It didn't need to. The galaxy had done that. Instead, through truth, through disgust, through a united silence. Trade with the Turok stopped. Borders closed. Allies vanished. Their homeworld, once proud, now echoed with questions and shame. Children in alien schools now learned the story of a boy named Milo, and how the galaxy changed because of him. On Earth, the garden on the moon grew. Milo's statue became a place of unity, not just for humans, but for all. Alien families came to see it. Some placed flowers. Others left drawings made by their own children. One Zarnithi ambassador, part of a species that once feared humans, stood before the statue and said softly, "You gave us fear once, but today you gave us something greater. You showed us what real strength looks like." Back on Haven Station, life returned. Slowly. The Turok embassy remained sealed, untouched. No one asked for it to reopen. It stood like a scar reminding all what had happened. Inside the human section, Commander Reed reviewed a final report. He wore no armor now, only a plain black coat. His aide walked in, holding a datapad. "Sir, the last Turok official has submitted full confession documents. The guards involved have been arrested by their own people. And," she hesitated. Reed looked up. "And they've asked for mercy." Reed said nothing for a long time. Then he stood and walked to the window. Outside, stars drifted like snowflakes. "Tell them," he said slowly, "we were never here for revenge." He turned. "We were here to bury a child." A few days later, a quiet ceremony was held. Not on Earth, not on the Turok world, but in orbit, between the two on neutral ground. Ambassadors, soldiers, and citizens of 100 species gathered together in silence. No speeches. No politics. Only a single, small box holding what remained of Milo's belongings. His toy starfighter, his red shirt, and a small drawing he had made. A stick figure standing between two alien flags, holding hands. The crowd stood for 1 minute of silence. Then another. And then a single human child stepped forward. She lit a small candle and placed it beside the box. She whispered, "We remember you." Later that evening, Commander Reed recorded a final message for the galaxy. It would play on every major channel, on repeat for 1 week. His face was tired, but calm. He spoke simply. "We are human. We are not perfect. We have made war. We have caused fear. But we know love. We know loyalty. And we protect our young." He paused, eyes burning. "To anyone who thinks hurting the smallest of us is strength, remember this child. Remember the fire that followed. And understand, vengeance was never our goal, but peace must be guarded. And sometimes that means drawing a line in the stars." As his message ended, the screen faded into the soft image of Milo's statue. Stars shimmered gently around it. And in the distance, a new dawn rose over the moon. Final line. Voiceover. "They hoped for peace. They harmed a child. And Earth answered, not to destroy them, but to make sure no one ever dared again."